There has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
Why is it so slow? Oh, yeah, baby.
What have we here?
It's kind of more laid back.
Hello.
Holy shit. It ain't C3 penis face and R2 dickhead.
Hello there.
Looking. Found someone you have, I would say.
I kind of like it.
May the force
terrible.
with us. Fucking A.
Good day, Galaxy. What the fuck? I think there was a weird sample rate conversion when I loaded my template, so the intro played really slow. If you're listening on iTunes, it's been fixed. But if you were live with us and you're watching on YouTube, it was wacky.
Turned me on a little bit.
It got it made it a little more chill, a little more laid back, set the tone for the evening. Do I sound like a lower voice to you?
No.
Do I sound like weird to you?
Shut it.
That's what it was like.
Jesus.
Anyways, how's it going, everybody? Episode 83, Rogue Squadron Podcast.
I
Your
am
favorite
Mopar.
and most rowdiest. I'm Commander Cody, Star Wars podcast on the web.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had to interject my name mid-sentence.
Commander Cody, podcast.
Yes. We took a week off, so thanks, everybody, for being back with us. Not too much craziness has happened over the past few weeks.
First frost.
It is November. We did see Doctor Strange. We got another
president.
We got a new president.
Nothing really happened.
We're not going to talk about. Well, that's nothing really happened in Star Wars world.
We got a new trailer.
A new international trailer with a few more little hidden gems. But yeah, I wasn't going to bring up the whole resident thing.
Let's talk about why I'm pissed.
Why are you pissed?
Because okay. So I went out to lunch.
Mopar is pissed.
Mopar went to lunch. I got to Kroger. I'm like, Mopar, I'm going to buy something.
You haven't been pissed all day, and you started the episode
Dude,
with,
I was
let me tell you why I'm pissed.
No, it was a couple of weeks ago, and I went to Kroger.
A couple weeks?
I'm still pissed.
All right.
So I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to go buy something. I'm going to buy something for me because I've been doing good. So I walked into Kroger, grabbed me a sandwich, and I walked over to the magazine rack. I said, magazine rack, I want something. So I saw Star Wars magazine.
Yeah.
Looked at it, had a new Stormtrooper on it. Said, yep, that's the one. I bought that shit, went and opened my sandwich, was sitting at my desk, and I opened the book, and it was just like, oh my God, we're all excited for The Force Awakens. I looked at it, I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And it said, take off shelf, January of 2016.
So they were a year late? 11 months late?
11 months. Just like, I mean, there's still decent stuff in there, but I was fucking pissed. I was just like, I wanted up-to-date stuff. It doesn't really matter that much because a lot of the stuff they're talking about is like the making of the original trilogy, but
I wonder if that's how people feel when they turn on an episode of our show and like, these fuckers are talking about Darth Bane again. What the fuck? Dude's like 3,000 years old.
So
it
this
looks
is
like a
it.
cool magazine, though.
Oh, it doesn't have the new Stormtrooper. I was mistaken. 2015 is the date on it, and I bought it last week.
The Epic Saga.
Yeah, I thought it was just
is it like it's its own magazine?
No, it's from the editors of Vanity Fair, Wired, Vogue, and the Nude Bitch.
But it is like its own thing. It's not like an episode or an issue of.
This is like a special. What the fuck was that? This is a special issue. I believe.
Amidalin.
Okay.
What? That's a little creepy. What's going on? This is what we're looking at, by the way.
Yeah, she done fucked her neck up.
This is terrifying.
She pulled a neck muscle holding that headdress up.
And now, there's too much weight on the Nubian headdresses.
So little did you know.
Well, yeah.
The little nut sacks at the bottom of her red dress here, and she's trying to think of the scene. She's staring out the window, Queen Amidalin, and she's got the big red dress.
Yeah.
The first dress she wears, and she's got those like nutsack light up globes. You can see the fucking dress is plugged in the background. You can see the cable going to the wall.
Really? I never noticed that before in my life.
Oh my god. And it is a small thing. It doesn't. Since no one noticed it, it doesn't really change anything. But
two fighters against a Star Destroyer.
These poses are.
That looks like a wedding cake.
It looks like he's stripping.
Did you see the meme on Force Friday last year?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is what we're talking about. This pose of Anakin, and they just put him on a stripper pole, and then the way Obi-Wan's hands are, they was making it rain.
Yeah. This must have been where it was from.
All right. Well, I had a little thing I wanted to bring up. It's quick, but since you're talking about episode 1 right now, I'll just pull it up. So I'm at Barnes and Noble pretty frequently because I'm usually roaming around Easton doing some work, at the coffee shop, at Barnes & Noble, getting some books, doing whatever. So I walked by this, it's called Star Wars The Complete Locations. It's one of those giant, like, huge hardcover books.
Legends.
So I flipped it open, and I landed on stuff about episode 1. So it's complete locations for the movie saga. Something very interesting I learned about Naboo is when Boss Nass says that they're going through the planet core, he doesn't actually mean that they're going from one side of the planet through the center to the other side. What it is, instead of like the magma that we have like in the Earth, it's all just aquatic tunnels.
Yeah.
Under the entire core of like the planet of Naboo. And I never knew that. I thought that was pretty interesting because when he said go through the planet core, I was like, they're just digging through the other side of the friggin' world, and it didn't make any sense. But there's this whole shit under the crust where where all those giant Godzilla creatures live, and there's always a bigger fish. And they just kind of flow through that thing and end up in there. When they use it, they can we's in trouble. So I never knew that before, and I thought our fans would like to hear. I thought it was pretty interesting. Mopar.
It's all right.
It's all right. It's only like structure of the entire planet. What?
This never happened.
What are you freaking out about?
Get out of the fucking desert, Obi-Wan versus Maul.
Oh, they just do promo shots for stuff like that.
I fucking hate Star Wars.
Shut it down.
Mopar's pissed.
Before we get too pissed, we should probably do our beer review.
All right, let's unpissed.
Anti-pissed.
Anti-pisser.
So, yeah, I mean, it's not a huge deal, but I thought the Nubian planet core thing was interesting.
It made sense.
Well, it didn't for a while, and that's why I brought it up. So if anyone was also confused why they traveled through the center of the planet, it didn't happen that way.
I actually just assumed that there was like water passages, but they didn't go directly straight across. They went like in and around.
Yeah. And they had a map of it too. It was like a cutout of the planet, and it showed like the core and all the passageways.
Like the
it looked
core.
pretty sweet.
Like
the core. By planet core, I assume they mean planet core. Can't get enough of that. All right, so what are we drinking tonight?
What kind of metal do you like? I like hardcore. I like Rancor. My favorite is Planet Core.
I like Planet Core. Boss Nass.
With Boss
I like
Nass.
Planet
I like
Core.
Planet Core.
You should edit that meme and redo
it. So today for our beer review, we've got Flying Dog is the brewery, and it's their Blood Line. So it's a blood orange ale. I have no fucking clue where they're out of because they don't put shit on their shit. I see nothing on the entire box. The one thing I do have to give credit to is whoever makes the art, whoever draws their art for their boxes and their bottles looks fucking amazing.
Which it reminds me of someone that did the Pink Floyd art, and I need to look that up because I don't remember.
It's gonna make me mad when you find it. I can't think of the guy's name either.
Flying Dog Beer. Just look this up really quick because I do want to know where they're from. Right there, what's it say? I can't read.
Maryland. Look up Pink Floyd.
Oh, yeah.
Gerald?
Scarf.
Yep.
Thank you. Gerald Scarf. Yeah, so this really is what it looks like.
It's like crazy. It's like abstract realism almost. Like he always.
I don't know what those two words mean. So.
Well, it's just like he paints real things, like humans and human faces and animals, but he fucks them up so much, but you can still obviously tell what they are. I don't know. Absenteeism. I'm gonna drink this.
Too close to the election. You're talking about absentee beers.
Oh, it's got an interesting smell. I like it.
Yeah, it does. So it just says ale. It doesn't say like blood orange IPA or anything. 7%. It's fresh. Enjoyed by April of 17. So it's definitely brand new.
It's got a fucked up, bloody faced dog on it.
Poor guy.
That's why I'm saying it's like abstract. It's obviously a dog. It looks like an unhappy George Bush dog.
His face does kind of look like George Bush.
Because he's simple-minded. No, I feel... I don't know. I'm not getting into politics. But, yes, 7.0.
You keep trying to.
I'm trying, George Bush. Absenteeism. 7.0, we've got a six-pack here. Bloodline is the name of the beer we're going to be sipping on. So let's do it. Smell test.
I got a lot of foam here, so...
Okay. It smells delicious.
I'm going to take my first sip out of the bottle.
Ooh, it's... What are you doing?
Cheersing.
Oh, got it. Wow. Ooh.
Whoa.
That's got a crazy taste.
That's really good.
That's really fucking good.
And I came from an arrogant bastard, and it's really good, man.
It's super refreshing. It's super bubbly. Yeah. Dad bit of that orange.
Dad bit of what? So the description is what brings us together as brethren of good beer. He's talking too much. Bitterness.
You said 4 words. It says, this is the beer we had. Fuck
it's
that.
so long. And it started with this preamble, like the fucking Declaration of Independence. I was just like, what's in the beer? Tell me, please. Bitterness that runs through our veins. What would typically make goosebumps rise and send shivers up spines? See, there's just like a bunch of just fucking pros about beer. Just tell me what's in it, man.
Cast away 4 years, embrace the fire and join the flock.
It doesn't even say what's in the fucking beer, man.
Flying dog. Aled with a blood orange puree and natural flavors.
That's a politician statement about what the beer is. What's in your beer? Well, let me say all these flowery words. And
we're stuck on politics.
See? I can't help it.
Make beer the way we want it to be.
So, I don't know what's in it. Orange, obviously, because it's in the name. But
let me break this down. It's refreshing.
I want to hear it.
It's a super refreshing beer.
Tell me about it.
Right off the bat, it is a little pale, but it soothes you to sleep with that citrus, so it doesn't end with that bitterness kick in the back of your throat. But
looks like you're trying to cast a spell over here.
I was healing my own thoughts.
We've been playing too much Skyrim.
Yeah, which, by the way, I made a Sidious character, and I got all my black robes. I'm pale as fuck, got the deep dark eyes, and I'm using only lightning. But that's a lie, because lightning sucks ass, and you can only upgrade it 75%, if you want to say that. So the first upgrade of lightning is 25% stronger, and the second one's 50, and that's where it ends. You can't like upgrade lightning anymore. So destruction has its limits, and
unless you have mods.
True, but I'm limited because I don't have the lightning storm yet, or chain lightning. So I'm just kind of like,
yeah, it's not the best. And if you use the same spell over and over again, I feel like it does get boring. The cool thing about magic in Skyrim is that there's so many different things you can do with it.
Well, what I've been doing, and I figured if Sidious doesn't just use lightning, he's going to be a cloak and dagger guy. So I've been doing all sneak and double dagger, and I got the 15 times damage when I sneak up to people. Ooh, so I walk in, cut a dude's throat, and then shock the other guy to death. I'm like, that's Sidious.
Yep.
So that's where I'm at with that. I have no armor, and that's kind of how I pictured Sidious, and I'm not doing the alteration spells either.
Well, not having the armor kind of forces you to figure the shit out the right way. Because if you
sneak up, you don't want to be seen.
If a bandit chief gets up on you, it's one hit, pretty much.
Yeah. Less. It's less than a hit.
0.7 hits.
Dude, I got fucked up. What was it?
Banded sheep.
What was it? Oh, it was a snow wolf, which can be sneaky strong, but they're never one hit. This dude jumped on me and mauled me to death with... Dude, it was... I was unhappy. Dear Lord.
Oh my gosh. So this beer is fantastic.
7.0 again.
I'm going to check it in on Untapped. If you're watching and you haven't yet, you can't even see what I'm showing you, unfortunately.
There's something.
Follow us on Untapped at Rogue Squad Pod.
There is something else in him.
I wish it told us. There's orange and there's ale. That's all we know. I like it a lot, though. It's...
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's got a lot to offer. I just keep going back to refreshing. It's a bit bitter, but the bitterness is just smooths the fuck out with citrus.
It's not even too bitter. It's good enough hops.
Well, it's like the upfront bitterness of a pale ale, not even an IPA. It's just like a pale ale, and then it ends there. It's almost like a shandy kind of sugary taste at the end. Mm-hmm. It smooths out.
With the orange in there, yeah.
Wow. Very impressed. Am I impressed? Yes. Leather-bound books.
What?
I'm giving it a 3 is what I'm saying.
I also am saying 3.
So, if you find it, I'm going to have
3 stars.
I think I've tried one other Flying Dog, and I don't remember it being that good, but it could have been like 5 years ago when I never liked different beers.
I've always heard good things about them. A year or two ago, I got one of their IPAs. It was a double IPA. It was like 11.5%. Obviously, it's crazy strong. It was still pretty good, but this is the first normal beer I've had by them.
Blood Orange is coming back though. That used to be a big thing a few years ago, and
I don't remember that at all.
Now it's on tap everywhere. We went to Pies and Pines. Ooh, they had it there. They had a darker one, I believe. Ooh, it was so good.
Interesting.
I was jealous of the human I went with. It wasn't a Wookiee. I'm just specifying. Before I came over here, I had a PB&J, but I was sitting there watching The Force Awakens again, the beginning.
I was watching The Force Awakens, the beginning, while I was on the goddamn treadmill the other day. It's really good.
We're not going to get back into it. I'm saying
Star
one
Wars
sentence. One sentence.
I'm saying 7.
I don't understand why people hate it so much if they do. It's still you can hate the plot, you can hate the character, but physically the movie's great. The action scenes, the character development, the relationships between the characters, the way it flows is all good. You don't have to like that Kylo Ren exists. But the fact that I don't know, like Rey's interaction with Han, you can clearly see that there's something else there.
You said one sentence.
It was a run-on. It was a one big
bunch
run-on.
Of commas in that one.
I was being a politician. Let me say one thing about it.
Well, first of all, there's always something to complain about.
I know.
I think everyone wants to complain about something, especially in like the nerd and gaming community.
I know more than you.
Oh, it gets out of hand real quick. But and then second to that,
actually it doesn't.
Oh, sorry, man, triggered. And second to that is that all the negative stuff comes right to the top to our focus. Like all of our friends are like, Force Awakens is awesome. Yeah, I loved it. It was good, and we saw it. Man, it was pretty bad, and then that jumps right up, and then we get into a fucking Twitter argument, and we're just like, yeah, motherfucker. God damn. And then that happens.
People, I know because people will be biting their tongues when 8 comes out. Kylo's such a bitch. He's such a
I understand that argument.
I get it, but they're still going to be biting their tongues because we're going to figure out Rey's a lot stronger, or she was trained prior to that event, or we're going to see some crazy conflict in Kylo that we didn't see prior to. There's going to be more to these characters, obviously. Another thing that I saw was, I think I took a picture of it. Hold on.
I have more to say about Force Awakens.
Well, then say it now. You've got 30 seconds.
The hypocrisy arises when people complain about Rey beating Kylo so quickly, but then are big fans of Luke and the original trilogy, and how Luke, within like a few days, blows up the super weapon of the strongest fucking government and military that you've seen in the galaxy. Like, it's a movie. It's Star Wars. It's Lucas. You have to be forgiving about certain things.
No, I agree that this farm boy goes from a farm boy to destroying the biggest thing ever created. Yeah. People don't take that in. I don't know. It's just,
well, the forgiving part for Luke is that he's Anakin's kid, so he naturally has a lot of ability. The forgiving thing for Rey, we don't quite know yet, and I think that's why people are more upset about it. But I think we're going to find out pretty quick, and I think, or not pretty quick, in 8 is what I meant to say. And yeah, man, I don't know. It's like people get really tied up in, I was an original trilogy fan, the prequels suck, and The Force Awakens is just a ripoff of Episode 4.
Then you're not a Star Wars fan.
And people, younger fans, also get caught up in the prequels are awesome, the original trilogy's too old, I don't really like it, and blah, blah, blah. Just take the overall scope of the saga, of the universe. It's a give and take.
You've got to understand.
Like, some shit about Rebels is annoying, but a lot of it is really awesome. You just have to fucking balance that shit out. You know what I'm saying?
And people don't take the time. It's almost like people have their mind already made up. They're making another Star Wars. They shouldn't, because the original trilogy hit me so hard as a kid and meant so much to me. The fact that it's gonna spread the story, I don't want that, so I'm just gonna search for stuff in the movie that I hate.
Well, what about all the people that are kids now that need to be hit with something like that? Fuckers.
Yeah. No.
Or people freaking out about the, I think it was confirmed that Rogue One is not gonna have the crawl. It was like, well, it's not a Star Wars movie. Yeah, we've speculated, but I think they now confirmed that it's not gonna have a crawl. But like, well, it's not a Star Wars movie. It's not a Star Wars movie, bro. Doesn't have a crawl.
It's so dumb.
I'm not gonna watch it.
Is it really?
You're gonna fucking watch it. Vader's on screen. Dude, I know. Shut up.
Yeah. Is it really the one thing that sets Star Wars apart is the fucking words that float by at the beginning? Are you fucking kidding me? You're not a Star Wars fan. I know it's like original and cool, but wipe it away and you still have fucking Star Wars. God damn. Am I happy that they're getting rid of it? Not necessarily, but the fact that they're getting rid of it doesn't take anything away from the movie for me. I don't know. This is a pissed episode.
I think
piss cube.
I think not having the crawl is a good way to separate the spin-off movies from the saga. I think that's the point, and I think it's okay. A lot of people brought up the argument that, well, they did use the crawl in games and stuff. Like KOTOR starts with a crawl.
They didn't know any better.
It was back then. We didn't know there was going to be more movies and blah, blah, blah.
There's no crawl in The Force Unleashed.
I don't remember. I bet so. There is.
Really?
Yeah, I bet there is.
I know there is in the Jedi Knight series.
But I just think it's a really good way to signify the difference in the movies, especially the difference in the tone. And I'm excited, and I don't give a shit. And I'm gonna see it.
I'm very happy, and I don't give a shit. You're happy.
I don't give a shit about the crawl. 5 weeks, man.
35 days.
The day.
35 days, I believe, is the exact.
Those two things mean the same thing.
Right. I'm just confirming 35 days.
In different language for others.
28 days and a week.
Speaking, yes.
Means the same thing.
And
trigger.
Wow. Yeah, so it's in 5 weeks. On that note, before we move on, if you're in Columbus, we will be at the premiere, Gateway Film Center here. Everything that we did for May the 4th, essentially we'll be back. Just in general, just a big celebration for Rogue One. And we'll all be there drinking beer, ready for the first showing, 7 p.m. on Thursday. In exactly 5 weeks. So if you're in Columbus, if you're in the area, come out, make it happen, watch the movie together, and all bitch about not having an opening crawl when we get out.
All right. I liked it up until the floating words didn't show up.
So you liked the Lucasfilm, and that was it?
Disney! Okay, we're done.
I quit.
Quit. Okay, so let's get into a couple things about Star Wars specifically.
Okay.
Bring up that list that I had. Or
List?
The topic list. List. Okay, so don't look at that.
Okay.
So, the Pissed Off magazine that I picked up actually does still have... It has a lot of good content. So
Pissed magazine.
I was pissed immediately. And then it kind of wore off when I started reading good content.
You just pissed by the date.
Dude, I was trying to buy a new...
You just pissed at the store for not taking it off the shelf.
Yeah.
Well,
if they wouldn't do that with anything else... If I bought a fucking sports thing from a year ago, I'd be pissed.
Fuck.
Could be pissed.
Was ESPN Golden State wins.
Golden State wins. Oops. So,
pissed.
The conflict was, now that we have two sagas, and we've talked about it
Two sagas, what?
Well, two trilogies, I'm sorry. One saga, two trilogies.
3.
Plus one, but this was written before the fucking 7 one came out. So, we've got the two trilogies, and the big conflict was, if I have children, where do I start them? You can't start them at... Well, if you start them at 4, you spoil that Palpatine is the Emperor and a Sith. If you start them at 1, you ruin... that Vader is Luke's father. So 5 doesn't make sense. Like the big drop at 5, you're just like, yeah, I saw Anakin give birth and pass out for the rest of her life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no matter where you start, you're gonna spoil something.
Well, they came up with
who's they?
The fuckers that wrote this.
Fucking troll-ass writers.
There is some trolling in here, and it pisses me off.
There's trolling everywhere. Star Wars.
But it's like, this is a Star Wars movie, and they're just like, the fucking prequels. I'm like, dude, shut up. This is a pissed episode. This is like a podcast comment section where everyone's just ranting and raving, and Mopar's pissed. So they came up with an order to watch. You watch it in this order, and you still get the I am your father. You still get the Palpy stuff. So, let's take a look here. They suggested that it was 4, 5. So you start off with Luke, you find out that Vader is his father. Go back to 2, and then you get to see 2 and 3. Basically, what happened to Vader. Which kind of makes sense in my eyes. And then you jump to 6 and kind of see the final conflict between father and son. So I think that's it. And clearly they got rid of 1 because it's definitely not worth watching at all. Oh my god.
That is the definition of butthurt. Mm-hmm. I think it is. I think one's better than 2. And over the past 2 years, I've liked 1 more and more every time I've watched it.
Yeah. It's got its downfalls. I understand that. It's one of my least favorites. It's my
so does 4, 5, and 6.
Right.
Mainly 4 and 6. Mainly 4 and 6.
Can you reach my lightsaber? We got stuck in this deer net by these little furry fucks. Are you kidding me?
Imagining them roasting over a fire pit.
Could you imagine that scene happening in a movie today? People would be livid. Are you fucking kidding me? Obi-Wan Kenobi, one of the smartest things ever, attacking a fucking, I don't know, a war horse? And he gets his foot stuck in some poop and gets... Dude, it's the same thing.
The crazy thing is you can't have a conversation with people about that. Because you're just like, well, it's Ewoks, they're tribal, that's what they did, man. Episode 6, Ewoks,
Luke's supposed
man,
to be
that's
a
what they
Jedi
did.
master at that point. And he gets stuck in a net.
There is no force uncook yourself. There's no power for that. You just...
The strongest being in the galaxy, almost, at that point, is rotisserie, and then he goes and kills the fucking Emperor. What the fuck?
He doesn't kill the Emperor.
He tries.
Father,
I
please.
know he sits there and takes it like
No,
a
there's-
bitch.
It's just it's a conversation that I don't even get into anymore, with the exception of obviously on the show. But people that are rooted. I'm going back to politics again. People that are rooted in what they have decided is the right thing that they enjoy, they're not going to change your mind. If you were a kid and you watched 4, 5, and 6 and fucking fell in love with it and hate the prequels, you're not going to change your mind. So let's not even have a conversation about
What's
it.
the core of that? You don't want to be wrong. You don't want to change your mind. So
I
that.
think you've clung to something for so long that you don't want to give it up.
But if you change your mind on something, that means you were wrong at some point.
Yeah, it means you lost.
Oh yeah,
You lost the
at
argument.
life. No, you learned something. That's what.
And now
happens.
you can fucking sit back and enjoy your favorite fucking thing.
Oh my god, yeah, I agree. Just fucking let it go.
Well, I mean,
What's your thought on the?
we had a streak of episodes where we complained about the prequels too,
Yeah,
with the exception of 3.
but they're still watchable and good.
And I'm over that now. And there's still stuff to laugh at, as there are in 4, 5, and 6, and 7.
Don't ever say that about 7 again.
What?
There's nothing in 7 that's bad.
Not bad. There's stuff to giggle at.
Get strong in the force.
I laugh at that every time.
Yeah, I do too. So, what is your thought? 4, 5, 2, 3, 6.
I
is
first
what
of all
they're saying.
hate the idea of leaving something out.
True. So, if they were to do it properly, they'd probably be 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6.
You know, I've heard that before, but I don't.
It kind of makes sense to me, though. You get to see the main first character, Luke. They find him. He blows up the Death Star. He finds out Vader's his father, the worst enemy. So let's go back and figure out how Vader was created. And then you jump. It's kind of a huge jump from 3 to 6, though. Like, he becomes Vader in 3, and then now you're...
It's a huge jump from 3 to 4, though, too. Yeah, I don't know.
I thought it was an interesting, like, we've always asked, well, I would start him with 4 because that's how it's supposed to go. But I've always wondered, what if people didn't know Palpatine becomes Sidious? You would, though. I don't know.
Shit. I don't know. I mean, I have seen in movies before where they'll set something up. Quentin does this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You set something up and you don't quite know what's going on, and then he does a flashback. You're like, oh shit, that makes sense. So in that regard, I think that order could work. Jumping from 5 to 2, though, I don't know. I don't want to leave out 1. It sets up, like, even if you don't like young Anakin and Jar Jar, 1 sets up all of the, like, 1 through 3 is a political cloak and dagger fucking madness. So 1 sets all that up with Palpatine in the Senate. So you'd miss all that. And you wouldn't get to see all of Amidala's outfits and the planet core.
All the special acting classes that she's taken to look sad. Jesus.
She was just crying the whole time.
Space boots.
Anyways, no, I'm not particular on this order or that order. I do like the just 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. I think it might be hard for people to watch, enjoy, and appreciate 4 from the first time if they've never seen a Star Wars movie. So I'm a little wary about that. I kind of want to say, like, watch 7. And if you like and enjoy 7 and it intrigues you, and you want to know about like story in the background, then let's go back and watch the whole setup for 7. That's what I say.
It's hard because, like you said, people are so, especially kids now, they're so overdone.
If it was a
with
kid, I
great-
would say watch Rebels.
Yeah, but
If you like and enjoy Rebels and you want to know more, there's 7 movies. Let's do it.
But 4, 5, and 6 is going to be a struggle no matter what for children now.
I
Because they're
wouldn't say it's
seeing
struggle.
fucking Transformers and the shit's blowing up and still looks great. And then they go back to mine. And it's just like, oh, look away, little.
But if they like the overall concept of Star Wars and they want to know more about it, then you just say, this movie was made 40 years ago. It was revolutionary at the time. You just gotta preface it, man. You gotta set it up in the right way.
Yeah.
But I would say start with, if you're a kid out, if you're listening, you have a kid, they haven't watched it yet. I mean, if you're a Star Wars fan and you have a kid, they probably watched it already, whether they know it or not, just in the background. You just loop episode 5 in their crib every night that they go to sleep. But I would watch Clone Wars and Rebels. Start with that, and then go back and review and fill in the gaps and all that fun stuff.
I just saw this.
What did you just see?
The duration of sequences or scenes that Jar Jar is in. Episode 1, 38 minutes involves Jar Jar in some way or another. Episode 2,
swing and a miss there.
3 minutes and 28 seconds. Much better.
Yes.
Episode 3, 7 seconds. Annie? Okay, that's it.
Yeah, he learned his lesson for that one. He learned his lesson for that one. You can't. He's annoying as fuck, but you can't fault a filmmaker for taking risks.
I don't think he's that bad. I mean,
like,
you can have idiot species, or
yeah.
It's not even an idiot species. He's just an idiot of the Gungans. The rest of the Gungans were pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's just clumsy.
You're banished because you're clumsy.
You mightn't be saying that.
Here's the thing,
planet
and I've actually never thought about this way, and I've never even said this before. Everyone praises episode 4 for taking risks. No one's ever seen a fucking movie like this. No one's ever seen praying mantises in a fucking bar where someone gets their arm cut off by a laser sword.
I still can't handle the mosquitoes in episode 7.
That's what I meant, I think. I said praying mantis, but
no, there are praying mantis in episode 4, but there were mosquitoes in episode 7.
Oh, in 7. I got you. Sorry. Well, people pride 4 for taking risks. And if Lucas took a risk on Jar Jar and thought he was doing the right thing, swing and a miss. Move on. He's over.
I don't... Like you
I think
said,
that's why
I don't
everyone
think
hates
it's
1 so much.
I don't think it's as big of a mistake as people make it to be, but the fact that he has almost 40 minutes of screen time...
That's the mistake.
Let's calm it down. He should have never even been on Tatooine. It doesn't even make sense.
Leave him in the fucking ship.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all you're all bringing a fucking boarding party. You got the Queen Mistress planet whore, and then you got R2 and Jar Jar. You're trying to be low key, and we're just like fucking circus walking in.
He's stumbling around, stepping in shit, and getting in fights with Sebulba. Especially dangerous dog named Sebulba.
He says, even Qui-Gon's like, we've had enough of the Queen's orders today. You know, we're trying to keep it low key, but we got the cartoon rabbit with us. It's like, why did you bring him? Was he really gonna help you barter for a fucking hyperdrive? We'll sell you this cartoon rabbit.
Say maybe he was trying to sell him in slavery. That's funny.
God, so dumb.
Anyways.
Okay, the other thing, bring up that list again. I didn't know that these existed.
What's these?
So, things exist called The Editor Strikes Back. That means all the prequels have been edited and shortened to a total of 85 minutes. So it's like an hour and a half.
Interesting.
They cut out probably a shitload of stuff. All the Jar Jar scenes, I'm sure, are gone. Which is the next thing. The Phantom Edit. That's episode 1 without Jar Jar.
But don't you lose important conversations that happen while Jar Jar's on screen?
Why? Where?
I think there's a lot of stuff that Amidala says while Jar Jar is standing there fucking...
Maybe they got rid of those parts where he talks. I don't know. I didn't know those things. So The Editor Strikes Back.
I feel like Kerner's mentioned those, but no, I haven't seen either of them.
Right. Yeah, I didn't know those were a thing, so I just wanted to bring that up. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was bitch-like. I'm just gonna edit out the parts I don't like and make the movie mine. It's just like, just watch the fucking
Isn't that
movie.
a definition of like what a toxic fan can be?
What other movie series does anyone do that with?
I bet there's a lot.
If it's a bad movie, they don't fucking watch it. But this is still a good movie. We're just gonna edit out the fucking cartoon rabbit. What? No. Keep him in there. It's fine. Just get through it. Whatever.
You nerds need to calm the fuck down.
Well, yeah. So, the other thing that I didn't know is where Emperor Palpatine's name came from. It came from a presidential candidate in the movie Taxi, and his name was Palantine.
You just kind of twisted it to say Palpatine?
Palantine. But that was, Lucas, I guess, was a big Taxi fan. And he's just like, I like that name. Let's fucking add a letter.
That's an interesting thing about Star Wars, and I've always...
But isn't it cool that he comes from a presidential candidate in another movie, and he ends up...
I wonder if that's where the whole, like, character idea came from.
Maybe
not just
he
the name.
spun it off him a little bit.
I always thought that was very interesting about Star Wars, where random effects that, like, whatever happens on set, random things that may occur that, like, alter a character's story or whatever, that becomes canon. Like the whole thing in Episode 7 where Poe really was supposed to die when the TIE-FO crashed on Jakku. Like, the fact that the actor didn't want his character to die right there affected the entire canon of Star Wars.
Right.
I thought that was very interesting. And then when you read about where they picked the names from and stuff like that, it just has a big effect.
Well, it's cool that
not many
like that
things go in that detail about stuff. And Star Wars always has done that, and I liked it.
Yeah. Agreed. So another name thing. So the name Ewoks, which is never uttered in the movies, was taken from a Native American tribe, the Miwoks, who are native or were native to Northern California,
which is where they shot the
Redwood Forest.
In the Redwood Forest, yeah.
So it's that blows my mind. It makes so much sense that they're in the Miwoks territory, and they need natives in the Star Wars universe for that territory. So they'll just Ewoks, whatever, natives to this land. This land is your land. Oh, this land is Miwoks. Yup.
I love that.
Yeah, I agree. It's cool that like something small. I twisted my ankle. Well, your characters now has a limp for the entire Star Wars series.
Yes, exactly.
It's like,
what you just said about they didn't say Ewoks in the movie at all, but the fact that they made a point to know that the name of those characters are Ewoks. And now they have a whole history and backstory, and they come from Endor, and they do this, and they act like that, and they roast Jedi Knights over a fucking fire. Like, that all has a backstory, just because of what they did in the movie.
Oh, he's a lightsaber? Bust out the teriyaki.
Cook that, bitch!
We're cooking tonight.
Warwick Davis is in Rogue One, by the way.
Who?
Warwick Davis.
Oh, yeah. Wicket.
Who played Wicket. And other things. But we talked about how he said that he was going to be in Episode 8. He's also in Rogue One.
He's in Episode 8? That's what we said last time.
2 episodes ago, I think.
Yeah.
Episode 81.
Yeah, I forgot his name for
But yeah, he's back and good to go. But yeah, he's also in Rogue One, so we'll see.
Interesting.
In 5 weeks.
I have my... I don't know.
What?
I'm excited for Rogue One.
I'm excited for everything.
Just think about it. Outside of Vader, what do we know about anyone in that movie? Mon Mothma and Vader is about it.
We still don't know much about Mon Mothma. We know that she worked with Bail Organa to start the rebellion after Palpatine took over. That's pretty much all we know.
No, Starkiller created the rebellion. A bunch of them.
That's all we know, man. No, I'm excited to know.
Died.
The hints, dropping the hints about Jyn Erso's dad having a role in the creation of the Death Star is huge. And like we mentioned last week, 2 weeks ago, last year, fucking whatever, we said the possibility that he maybe built in the failsafe of like the exhaust port. Mm-hmm. That's huge. It's fucking huge, man.
I don't know why they would go all the way. They're going out of their way to legitimize that exhaust port. A battle station of that size is going to create heat. You need an exhaust port. You're running things. You need heat to escape.
Well, yeah, and the fact that the exhaust port leads the fucking reactor and blows the thing up.
That's what gets hot. Where does my exhaust go to? It goes to the fucking engine because that what gets hot.
They spent No. They
Yep.
spent like 12, 15, 20 years building that motherfucker.
Also-
they were not going to let it get blown up by just one little thing.
Also,
Which everyone's always had an issue with.
what does
since
an
they saw it.
exhaust port do? Releases heat. So
Yes.
heat's blowing out of this thing. Let's shoot torpedoes on her. Oh, they should blow right the fuck out.
That's silly. Heat blows out. It's not strong enough to blow out like
I don't
things
know.
that are coming in at a fucking force
It would
velocity.
keep the bugs out. Space bugs.
Bugs aren't a proton torpedo, man.
Buzz droids.
No, I think the military of the Empire is advanced. As much as they can't hit shots, they're advanced. They would not let something like that slip by.
So, another thing.
No.
Another one.
No.
The fact that in the Force Unleashed book, they talk about the Death Star being created.
Not canon. I don't want to talk about it.
Yes, it is.
I'm just kidding.
It is.
You said Force Unleashed.
It is canon.
It's not canon.
Could be. No, but they Starkiller.
Let me hear it.
Starkiller gets on the Death Star.
Yeah.
Which is kind of already fucking weird. What? But he lands and they're still building it. The Empire took over Kashyyyk to get the Wookiee slaves to build the Death Star. So, yeah, and that was almost the backstory that I thought I knew about.
That's silly.
Han was a stormtrooper and he saved Chewie on his way out because he was enslaved. I don't know where I heard that, but I thought it was true. Supposedly, it's not. But
That's
thinking about the fact that Wookiee slaves were supposedly building the Death Star, and I guess we'll see it in Rogue One,
7.
maybe. Well, it's supposed to be operational by then. Maybe they built in weaknesses as they were building it and stuff like that. I don't know. Another one. The fact that buzz droids exist and you have to use Wookiee slaves to build shit, just build some droids that make a Death Star. Stop fucking around trying to take people over that aren't going to listen and are going to fight you half the way. You're going to spend military time. Build a goddamn droid that makes the goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Why?
I agree.
It's so weird. It's weird that we go from a crazy droid army that is super efficient once they get their shit together and they start using the super battle droids and the droidicas. Dude, that's a military onslaught. As long as you can keep radio connection and Bluetooth wireless shit. And then you got the clones, which is another astounding feat on the other side. And then in the future, we'll hire white British people to run shit. And we'll get Wookiees to build our stuff. They know how to make stuff out of wood. They know how to make a death planet. Let's do it.
Yeah, the Wookiee thing does not make any sense to me.
I don't know if that's canon anymore, but
It should not be, because that's silly.
Well, it is Legends. I know that.
I'm glad
I don't know
it's
about the
not
Han.
canon, because that's silly.
I don't know about the Han and Chewie thing. I've looked that up and I couldn't find it anywhere, but I did hear that. But Wookiee slaves built the Death Star.
If the Death Star was made
Legends.
out of wood, that would make a lot more sense.
Nah.
Come from a planet covered in forests, they're very strong. Making stuff out of wood would make a hell of a lot more sense than just enslaving them and sending them off to this floating death thing. Mm-hmm. Like, that's silly.
They were also
Jesus, man.
on the outside of it. I don't know if it has
Just
an
like-
atmosphere. Yeah. But
Tinking away with a fucking hammer.
Starkiller landed as a human without anything and was breathing on the outside of it, talking to Wookiees and shit. I was like, what? Does it have an
Man, I'm
atmosphere?
so glad that fucking thing's uncanon.
Shakti pisses me off.
I wonder if there's people that love Force Unleashed the way we love the prequels and are thinking the same way about us as we think about all these fucking butthurt trolls about the prequels.
Man,
I mean, Force Unleashed is good, man. Starkiller's a good character. You should take it more seriously. Read it again. Try it again.
I think he had. I like the
Potential for sure.
character of Starkiller. The fact that Vader has a secret apprentice.
The idea
fucking
of
love
that.
It.
The idea.
Fucking of that.
Yes.
I love it.
Fucking of that.
I love it. 3 out of 3.
7 out of 7.
It's the execution of the book specifically. I don't think I ever got all the way through the actual game, so maybe that just makes it better.
Either,
because supposedly you do fight Shakti in it, right?
Yeah, I fought her.
It was like in the second
first
or
main
third.
boss.
Yeah. So that's cool. It would be fun to fight her as Starkiller, but as I listened to the audiobook, I was like, it was so simple for him to kill things, and everything was lightninged. I'm done ranting about him. He was a cool character, and the book was terrible. It either didn't translate well into a book, or I've got a lot of issues with the game, which I have unplayed.
Well, it's very hard to make a game translate into a book. And Drew, when we interviewed Drew, he was talking about that about Revan. He was like, he couldn't write a Revan book about the KOTOR timeline because the way that fans interpret a character, when you can make the character do what you want, you can't translate that into a book.
Walks in, shocks everything, everything's dead.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people had grief with the Revan novel. I know you did too, because as you played the game and made Revan go dark side, you had this idea of who Revan could be, and when that didn't end up being the canon story, it just...
We'll settle with that. That's the reason I don't like Starkiller, is because I read a non-translated well book. And it was an audio book.
A non-said well phrase.
Good.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, so maybe I'm just biased that way. I tried. I thought, it was a fucking cheap-ass audio. It was like $5. I'm like, and it had great ratings. I was just like, fuck yeah, $5, I'll do this. It was like a 6 hour thing. I'm sure it was
produced well and everything.
I don't know about that. There was a lot of things that just itched my scritch. Did not like it.
That didn't itch the scritch.
No, scratch my itch is good. Itch a scritch is like, what the fuck are you doing?
I thought when we said itch the scritch was a good thing. I don't remember. A fan will tell us. Listen back. When did we say itch my scritch, and was it good or bad?
Let us know.
Email us.
Comments below.
Leave a comment on this web zone.
Let me know if you want any pizza rolls. Leave a comment in the web zone.
Oh, we should watch. We just quoted Red Letter Media.
We have a lot to get to, though.
By the way, Red Letter Media. Everyone will know Mr. Plinkett's reviews of the Star Wars prequels, why they suck, which are hilarious, but they don't actually suck. But he did one on Force Awakens. We should watch that.
Web Zone.
Pizza rolls.
That makes me think of, I watched Silence of the Lambs.
That's a good fucking movie, man.
I watched it yesterday. For the first time since maybe a decade ago, I actually turned on the television and watched cable. Since we have so many fucking channels, I was like, fuck it, let's see what's on like HBO and stuff. And that was on. It was right at the beginning. I sat there and it was just it's such a good movie.
That's one that I didn't like the first few times I watched it because of how old it was and because of how old I was when I watched it.
It's not as old as you think.
91, right?
Ooh, good. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
good
same
guess.
time as Terminator.
I thought it was old. I thought
so
it was
right
like
now
81.
it's 25 years old.
I thought it was like 81.
Really?
Until yesterday when Clarice literally says, that happened back in 1990. I'm like, what the fuck time is it?
It's last year, Clarice. The fuck calendar are you using?
Yeah. I just
no, it's
thought
really
it was
good
from
movie.
the 80s. But
I just didn't. When I was younger, I just didn't appreciate
Anthony Hopkins,
the movie for what it was. Fantastic. I was actually listening to Rogan's show, and they were talking about how Jack Nicholson was up for that role of Hannibal Lecter and almost got it, which would have been a totally different take on the character, but still, I think would have been awesome. Just completely different Hannibal Lecter, but would have been fucking sweet.
I don't think it would have been as good, but yeah, it's hard.
It's hard to say that though.
It's hard to say. Yeah, he
always
always
hard
does
to say
the
stuff
crazy.
like that.
He always does the crazy people. Well, always. He did. What's his face? Jack. He always plays a Jack. I never noticed that.
And his name is Jack.
Jack Napier in Batman. Jack. God, what was his last name in The Shining? I don't know. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. I forget his last name, but he always plays a Jack, a spades. Jack of clubs. Uh-oh. What if... So let me ask you this. This is going to be the question of the episode. Today on Rogue Squadron. If Jack Nicholson was in Star Wars,
Shit!
what character would he play? Would it be a brand new character? And if it is a brand new character, what type of character would it be?
I picture him as a very old retired bounty hunter who's seen a bunch of shit across the galaxy and is sitting in a cantina and people come to him for advice. Kind of like a Lor Santeca, but instead of this like mysterious sage sitting in a hut in a fucking village, he's in the sleazy bar in Coruscant, and he's been all over the galaxy and he's seen everything and he's killed all these different types of people and species or whatever, and he's just sitting there. And Boba Fett walks up and he's like, "Man, I really struggling to track down this motherfucker. Can you give me some help?" And dishes it out.
Interesting. I have somewhat a similar. I see him as the leader of like a underground gang that not only bounty hunters go to, but like Sidious might ask.
For
like
some help?
he's just connected. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I need this to happen, Jack Napier of Coruscant.
Yeah.
And Jack just knows, I got you, and it's just going to cost you a lot. But he's kind of like that underground, not drug lord, but like crime lord.
Yeah.
I could see him doing that.
Nice.
That, like, even the Jedi know that is the bad guy, but we can't walk in there. We can't just walk in there as Jedi because we're going to get fucked. He's got so much stuff going on and so many people doing so many things for him, and he has got so much money, we can't even mess with him.
Yeah.
That's how I just like that non-force power having death threat to the Jedi. To the Jedi. That was like a fucking Sarlacc pit burping up Boba Fett's helmet. Jedi.
It was.
It was. So, let's get into it.
Get into what?
Doctor Strange, go.
Oh, yeah. You know, I guess this episode should have been mainly about Doctor Strange, don't you think?
Well.
Or should we both see it again and then do a full...
Well, let's do a 1 minute recap.
Let's do a quick.
Let's do a 1 minute what we thought. Let's not even get into the plot or anything.
Because there's some other stuff that we got to talk about too. So let's do a quick, and then once we both see it again before the next episode, we can do a full ass review and everything else.
I'll start.
Go ahead and start. I'll pour a beer while you start.
My favorite Marvel movie, period. I enjoyed it that much. I thought it was a good mix of action, of character development. The characters outside of Doctor Strange were interesting and cool. Great casting. The power difference between an Avenger and Doctor Strange is astounding. And it's so cool how he fits into that universe. And we haven't even seen him... Well, no spoiler, but we don't see him like mesh with any other like Avengers or superhumans.
Right.
So it's cool to see the Avengers are doing that, but Doctor Strange.
But
he's
Doctor Strange.
But he's a cool character. He's not just like a. He's a little more earth. He's grounded. I was gonna say earthy. He's very grounded. I think he's stubborn. Well, he has his faults, and I think a lot of...
He's not grounded yet. I think he's working on it.
I think when he fucks his hands up, spoiler, if you don't know the origin story, I think that really fucks with him, and he doesn't know what to do or where to go, and he kind of just ends up there. So, I don't know. I don't want to get too much into the plot, so I still will stick by it's my favorite Avengers movie. I'm going to go see it again tomorrow.
You mean Marvel movie?
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah.
And that's saying something because I really do enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy, but I still would put this above it. That's
I'm gonna
hard.
have to
They're
watch.
both very funny movies.
I'm going to see Doctor Strange again this weekend, and I got to see Guardians again before I can say for sure. I think Guardians is still my favorite, but Doctor Strange is probably number 2.
I don't know about that.
What I will say, as a particular superhero, Doctor Strange is way up on my list now. Because I went into it knowing nothing. I know you read the origin story graphic novel a few months ago. We talked about it a little bit. But I didn't read it. It's sitting over there. But I knew nothing. as I did with most of the Marvel heroes before we watched the MCU movies.
Spider-Man?
I mean, yeah, you know about Spider-Man, of course.
Jesus.
But I'm saying I didn't know details about Iron Man. I didn't know details about Black Widow and all that shit. Captain America.
Thor. Yeah.
I like Doctor Strange a lot. A lot. It's like it was a nice change up. It's very refreshing. From the I'm trying to do the right thing and I discover that I have a power and now I'm gonna keep doing the right thing with my power. It was a nice he has to change fundamentally who he is as a person in order to not only heal himself, but also do in the process. He knows that by healing himself, he gives himself the power to do something better for humans overall or the world overall. And we'll get into more of this next week when we do the full review. But I thought his whole story was a nice change up, and of course, the whole power set, this magic and sorcery and everything, we haven't seen at all. That was a huge leap. We haven't seen anything like that at all.
I seriously, at this point, he is the strongest superhero I have ever seen.
And he's still learning.
I'm saying not even Batman. I don't see how Batman, who defeats everything, figures it out. Batman can't go...
What's different universe?
I understand, but I don't care. I'll cross that shit. I think Batman would defeat everybody. He would find a way, because that is Batman. Even against like the Hulk, who is just unstoppable. Batman would figure something out, get him in a trap, you're gone, I don't have to deal with you, I win. But like Doctor Strange's power, it's so just beyond reason almost. It's beyond time. Like, what the fuck, dude? Oh, I messed up, I'll just try it again. What? I'll do it again and again until I fucking win.
I've come to bargain.
I've come to bargain. What? Come to bargain. What?
That was so funny. No, I think it's really cool. The way, I don't know if they planned to wait on Doctor Strange. They probably did, because they know he's like a less known superhero. But the way that they delivered it, the way that they gave us I don't even want to say cliche, but typical superheroes.
First,
join them up, did this, gave a storyline for them, but we have little glitterings of, that's not a word,
Thanos.
Glitterings of Thanos in the background, who's in the galaxy. He's like in space, sitting on a throne in fucking space. We don't know how he's going to connect. And we have these physical superheroes on Earth. And then now all of a sudden, Doctor Strange, who's controlling space and time and magic, is going to be that connection where like the physical superheroes and Thanos get to meet.
Well, yeah, they're going to have to
It's going to make a lot more sense for them for Thanos to join in the fight. With Doctor Strange, with what they've set up in the movie, it's going to make a lot more sense for him to jump in.
But just think about if they team up, because he can do that like portal thing and just send the Hulk somewhere like that, and then he goes fucks up that army, and he sends them back, and then fucks with time. Oh, because what I see happening is the Avengers are going to be fighting the war, the physical battle. It's kind of like the clones versus the droid army. That is the war, but the actual conflict is Jedi and Sith.
And the politics.
True, but that's all tied in with the Jedi and Sith.
Yeah.
So that's what I kind of see. Like the Avengers are the war with all the crazy nonsense that's probably going to come from Thanos, but then it's going to be like Doctor Strange, and I'm sure he's going to be using some of the Avengers, but it's going to be keyed to like powers like his that fight Thanos, because what else are you going to do? I don't know, because
we don't even really know what Thanos does yet. Yeah, because all he's done is sit there and say, "Give me the fucking stones, dude."
And so this is going to show my ignorance, but I'm just going to say it because this is what I know. I know Thanos is somewhat on the same level or same key as Darkseid in the DC universe. And what I know about Darkseid in the DC universe is Batman kills that motherfucker. At least
Batman always finds a way.
And that makes me think he would find a way against Doctor Strange somehow. But, yeah, so I just... it's so weird to think that people like Doctor Strange and Thanos and Darkseid exist, but a human, not even just a human, he's just a guy. He's not even like a special human. He's not extra strong. Like, he like bodybuilds because he has money, but there's nothing special about Bruce Wayne. Specifically, him as a human. You're not even a big dude. You're a short, chubby fuck. But you're just really smart, have a lot of money, and you have a lot of vengeance.
Well, I guess that is what it is about him. He's really smart.
True.
He's extremely intelligent.
And I think the demigods, or whatever you want to call them, the metahumans underestimate Bruce every fucking time. Because
that's his advantage.
And he uses that to his advantage.
Yeah.
He's the greatest detective, so he finds out what the fuck fucks you up. The fuck fucks you up. Okay, I'm going to stop talking for a little bit.
That's good.
My favorite, like I said, I'm going to stop there. I'm excited to see it again tomorrow so I can actually analyze everything.
Yeah.
The one big thing that they changed was if you do know the origin story, which it doesn't really matter, the Chosen One becomes a woman, or is a woman in the movie.
The Ancient One.
Ancient One, you're right. They don't really specify. They say Sorcerer Supreme a couple times, but it's always talking about the Ancient One. In the book, they like specify Doctor Strange becomes Sorcerer Supreme, which is like the Ancient One's title. Actual.
Yeah, and I'm glad they didn't do that because it's the first movie and he's still
kind of learning.
Yeah.
But what he does, so that if I had to critique it, he jumps his power levels like fucking that.
I think they advanced the timeline pretty quick.
Yeah, I kind of get that too, but it's
because
still kind of all of a sudden.
They just have to get out.
Well, he's like all of a sudden stealing books out of the library. Spoiler. I'm sorry. I'm done.
We'll go with this next week.
Yeah. he jumps powers very quickly. I'm gonna end there.
Spoiler alert! Go see the fucking movie. Oh, we're gonna go see it again.
Triggered. Okay.
I'm not triggered. I'm happy. It was so good.
It was delicious.
It's really awesome.
If it was a beer, it would be like 3 out of 3. And delicious. Okay. Cool. Game of Thrones. We'll end with Game of Thrones.
Quick little Game of Thrones things I want to end on. So we talked 2 episodes ago. We got into the card game. Game of Thrones, the card game. Once we did, I went back and started rewatching the show over the past month and a half.
Okay.
I don't know. I watched the whole fucking show again. It was really good. A lot better than I remembered, actually.
They hide a lot of small stuff in there that you would only get and understand the second time through.
I've seen season 1 so many times, and I've seen season 2 a lot as well. But in like season 3, I've only seen once before this. Season 4 and 5 and 6 were very blurry. So when I went back and saw them, I noticed a lot of stuff that I didn't.
You got all the way through the whole thing?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it was good. It was good. And once because I watched that on HBO Go, and I think it starts season 4, they do a behind the episode.
Yeah.
And there's like a minute and a half at the very end where the creators are talking about the episode and everything. One specific thing that I thought was interesting, spoiler alert if you haven't seen season 6, when Bran escapes the Three-Eyed Raven's tree and Hodor dies, they were saying how they actually met with George R.R. Martin and were asking him about Hodor. And George Martin told them specifically about how Hodor dies and how his name came to be. So that is actually from George Martin. It's not in a book yet because he hasn't finished book 6 or 7. But they actually like met with him and he told him like, oh yeah, that's the backstory. Like that's what I wrote, or that's what I'm about to write, and that's what I have planned for Hodor's backstory. And I thought that was really interesting. I'm just wondering how much other stuff is in the books or is in the show that hasn't been published yet. But they've met with George and he's been like, this is what I'm planning in the background. Like I know Jon and Daenerys are going to meet at some point, and this is what I have in mind. And they've taken that and kind of like morphed it into like a plot for the story.
Jesus.
For the for the show.
What if they created
It's so fucking awesome.
a Star Wars?
That's what I've been waiting
Yeah.
for, man.
They've been, so I gotta say, within the past like 5 years, 5, 6, 7 years, TV series have been off the fucking charts.
Yeah.
And we've already talked about how we're not a fan of The Walking Dead and stuff like that, but it's still catching people, and stuff like Game of Thrones,
I really don't like The Walking Dead.
Breaking Bad. I think it all started with stuff like Lost, where it was kind of weird, and I know I've talked about it, but with it like being almost plotless, it was all character development. It was just like, and what happens and who dies and the struggles and the relationships, and that was 100% what it was. Nothing that actually happened in the setting mattered. Spoiler. People died, and the next episode they're fucking up walking around. There was a monster, like, for the entire first season. They were scared. Next season, no monster. Fuck that. No one cares. It's like, what happened?
J.J. Abrams happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's another series that's good? I said Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, Walking Dead,
Cards.
House of Cards. Yes. Yes.
I do not like Walking Dead, man.
I'm not. I've watched like the first 3 episodes, and I was just like, I'm not into zombies.
I get attacked for it, but I just don't like it. I'm into zombies. I like zombies.
I'm not a
But
big
the
huge
fucking
fan.
show's not about the zombies. It's about humans being fucking assholes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got over it really quick.
You know what they should make is a Fallout series.
Yes.
That would be post-apocalyptic, like people building stuff back together. All these tribes, and they're all fighting each other, and don't go over there.
A similar mentality to Walking Dead, but it would actually make sense.
Right. Something actually happened.
Because you have to scrounge together to fend for your lives against each other. If there was a zombie outbreak, don't you feel like everyone should come together to fucking fight the zombies?
But that's it. Like, I think we should go over there and blow these zombies up. I think we should drive over there and get the fuck away. Well, fuck you too. And then they start stabbing each other.
Yeah, I just think that's overplayed, man.
House of Cards.
I just don't like that mentality of
House of Cards.
When push comes to shove, humans are evil and they'll murder each other just because they think that they want to.
I don't know what it was.
It's just not about that.
Originally. But I didn't dislike, but I did not like Kevin Spacey. It was something, he was in the middle. I watched probably something.
House of Cards we're going now? Or you're just saying
Just
him in
Kevin
general?
Spacey in general. And House of Cards plays a huge thing in it, but something, it was probably 20 years ago when I was an idiot, and I still am. But I must have saw something by him, and I didn't enjoy it that much, and I just kind of had a bad taste in my mouth. And then I watched, like, Unusual Suspects, and then House of Cards, and I watched 21, the gambling movie, with him a bunch, and then I just watched American Beauty, and then I watch him. He's fucking hilarious. His celebrity impressions are the best I've ever heard. He's astoundingly talented and funny.
Yep.
Why did I not? Like I said, I didn't dislike him. I just didn't get it yet.
You're not always ready for it.
Well, maybe it was just because of the fact I hadn't seen a lot of his best stuff. And of course, House of Cards wasn't out yet, but people were just like, oh, he's amazing. And I hadn't seen Unusual Suspects and 21 and all the good stuff.
Just not ready for it, man.
Have you seen Unusual Suspects?
Usual Suspects.
Have you seen the sequel?
The porno, Unusual Suspects. No,
Porno.
I haven't seen that one. Sorry.
Is it? Yeah, it is usual.
No, Usual
Jesus.
Suspects. Yeah, I like it.
That's
I like it a
funny.
lot now. But I'm glad you brought that up about what?
Time out.
What?
Remember when we were playing, what was that DVD game?
Seen it.
And the answer was, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They came out, what's this movie that there's a blah, blah, blah. The Inner City Slickers. You mean the City Slickers? Dude, we died about that for about a half hour.
That was
I'm
with,
still dying.
So we say their names? Because the what I want to say actually goes into those two guys.
What do you mean?
Bronson and Steve.
And Dan.
And Wayneo. Steve actually needs to come down and be on the show. He's talked about it so many times. But
I'd rather not.
Steve, let's go.
Steve.
The first time I saw Usual Suspects, so Steve and Waynio and Bronson, our buddies, are much more film savvy than we are. And they got into films. They were watching Quentin films a lot earlier than we were.
We were listening to Metallica. They were watching films. That was kind of the...
So the first time I saw like Usual Suspects and Boondock Saints and stuff like that, I wasn't ready for it. I didn't appreciate it. I didn't like it. But I watched Usual Suspects like 2 years ago. Fucking amazing movie.
So good.
Fucking awesome. The first big thing that I saw Kevin Spacey and that I liked was, sounds silly, but Pay It Forward.
Yeah. Oh,
with Helen Hunt and the kid from Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense, yeah.
That movie's fucking incredible, man.
He plays a lot of small roles, too, that it just... You forget he's there, but he adds so much to stuff. God, what was I just watching?
He's fantastic. He's just fantastic overall, man. He's just really good he's a master of his craft, man.
Yeah.
You can't. And
if you haven't, please pause pause the fucking podcast.
Don't okay.
Pause the fucking podcast and go to YouTube and just put Kevin Spacey impressions. He's got tons of them. He does one on Wheel of Impressions on Jimmy Fallon, which is one of my favorite things Jimmy Fallon does. He does it with singers, and they do Wheel of Impressions, and they have to sing. They say, sing this song like this singer. And it's astounding. Ariana Grande does a fucking amazing. This girl is talented.
Jamie Foxx, man.
I wish her fucking music sounded like her talent. Agreed. Jamie Foxx kills it.
He does the Toys R Us theme song in the style of John Legend.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing. And then Kevin Spacey does one. It's Halloween themed. He does like costume parties as Johnny costume parties. Like I can't even do it. I love it. It's so good. It's so good. He does the facial expressions too. It's amazing. Yeah, I don't understand why I didn't like him at an early age, but it's amazing. So, Boondock Saints. Let's end on Boondock Saints because I'm sure we're not going to talk too much about it. When was the last time you saw it?
I literally only saw that one time.
Oh, God. I'll let you borrow it. It's so fucking
I would
good.
like to watch it again.
The funniest
I will preface by saying that a lot of things that everyone loves, dude, Boondock Saints is like the cult classic movie ever. It's the best thing ever. You got to watch it. I usually don't like stuff like that.
Boondock Saints is fucking amazing.
For whatever reason. But I've only seen it that one time.
You're on a Star Wars podcast, you realize.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Star Wars.
Not everyone.
Yeah. Idiots don't. Smart, intelligent people.
Star Wars is not a cult classic. Star Wars is
just
pop culture.
Well, don't even say that. Because I'm sure the first 3 episodes were a cult classic, and then they started just growing and building and blah, blah, blah.
Well, we weren't born then, so I don't know.
Me neither.
I said we.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm willing to watch Boondock Saints again.
The second one's even really good.
I watched Big Lebowski last night. It was fucking awesome.
If you like dude, not even close. I like Big Lebowski. I'm telling you, you're gonna be.
Let me watch it.
Be eating your words, man. No, it's a long movie. You got to put time aside for it, but it is worth it. It's
We're talking
really good.
4 or 5 hours.
Lord of the Rings, 3.5.
It's not 3.5. What?
Yeah.
Mopar is drunk.
It's the extended one. Yeah.
Lord of the Rings version.
Yeah, they add a bunch more killing.
You know what's funny about the Lord of the Rings version?
I think it's a 2.5 hour movie. Or 2.5 hour, yeah.
Well, you know what's funny? I always, not bragged, but bragged that the Lord of the Rings movies were so long for the extended version, but the credits themselves are like a half hour.
Mm-hmm.
So fucking ridiculous. I want to look this up. Boondock Saints from 99.
It was that recent. Oh. Good. It's so good. It's a long movie, man.
Doesn't say.
Really?
The word fuck is used a total of 246 times throughout the movie. That's really funny.
No, the funny parts in the movie.
You're a crazy psycho fucking liar, drunk ass bullshit.
2.5 hours.
No, it's an hour and 8 minutes. Or no, it's 108 minutes. So hour 48. Hour 48.
180 what?
108.
Oh. Okay.
So an hour and 48. Mopars, please.
It seems like a longer movie.
It probably was just that bad that it took forever to watch it. I'm just kidding. I'm just
You're
kidding.
Gonna be eating your words, man.
I'm just kidding.
It's a good movie. Good movie. All right, guys. We appreciate your time and your ears.
I do.
This is a Rogue Squadron podcast. Episode 83.
Yes.
I am Mopar.
I'm Commander Cody.
Thank you guys for tuning in. You can check us out or something.
Check us out online. It's just, everything's just Rogue Squad Pod. Don't forget, we are part of the Star Wars Commonwealth on Twitter. Hashtag SW Commonwealth and SWC Pod, along with Gen X Wing, Tumbling Sabers, Talking Star Wars. Go check out those guys. Awesome Star Wars shows. And I know Gen X Wing is not a specific Star Wars show, kind of like we are. We don't always talk about Star Wars, which is kind of nice. They did a epic episode about Ferris Bueller a few weeks ago, which I've listened to twice, and I really, really have been meaning to go back and watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But go check out those shows online, on Twitter. And what else do we have to yell about today?
Rogue One's going to come out.
Rogue One's coming out. We already talked about that, though.
We're going to be making a beer
We're making a beer.
with our buddies at Actual Brewing. So stay tuned for updates and goodness about that. But we're excited.
But if you're not in Columbus, you won't be able to drink it. So
Don't get
drive
excited.
to Columbus.
So be
Come see us for Rogue One, and you can try some.
Yeah. Cool,
So,
guys.
Thanks for listening. Doctor Strange full review coming next episode. So if you're a big Marvel fan, stay tuned for that. If you're not, go watch Doctor Strange and stay tuned for that. Anyways, because it's worth it, and we love you. We love you. I don't know what else to say.
Good night, Galaxy.
That's it. Good night, Galaxy.